Proactive health communication plan in the District of Columbia among men having sex with men. An overview of the HIV infection in the District of Columbia. The Center for Disease Control, the CDC, reported that in 2016, 39,782 were newly diagnosed with HIV in the United States, which is 12% of the US population. 70% of the newly diagnosed were male to male sexual contact. 64% were individuals between the age of 20 to 29 years. 45% of the diagnosed cases were black males. Washington, D.C. had one of the highest HIV prevalence rates in the United States. In 2016, the HIV prevalence rate in the United States was 1.9%. 7.1% of all black males in the District of Columbia are living with HIV/AIDS. Heterosexual transmission is the leading mode of HIV/AIDS exposure among black males, which amounts to 30.6%. 2008 to 2016, the yearly number of diagnoses of infected HIV increased to 3% a year among male having sex with male 13 to 29 years of age. Subpopulation at risk and health crisis. What is happening? Men having sex with men in the District of Columbia continue to have significant risk behaviors associated with HIV infection. The annual number of diagnosed HIV infection of men having sex with men increased by 3% among 13 to 29 years. Racial ethnic disparities in HIV infection continues to exist, especially among young black African American men having sex aged 13 to 29 in 2008 to 2016. In 2005 to 2015, MSM individual aged greater than 50 years living with HIV increased by 1% yearly. 51.8% of HIV MSM used non-injection drugs in the past year. Two-thirds of the individuals living with HIV reported 1 to 5 male sex partners in the past 12 months. Outside the District of Columbia, multiple studies demonstrated an increase in HIV infection and undiagnosed and unrecognized HIV among black adolescents and adults, of which the identified factors are associated with HIV. Health promotion campaign. Why is this campaign important? The campaign is very significant because the MSM in the District of Columbia continues to practice risk behaviors that are associated to HIV. The campaign is important because it will avert the most infections and improve health outcomes. Also, since sexually active MSM are at risk for HIV infection, creating an awareness that they need to be tested yearly will allow them to know their status, and if they are positive, linking them to and retaining them in HIV medical care to achieve viral suppression. The tested negative individuals will be provided HIV prevention services, including pre-exposure prophylaxis (PrEP). Conceptual theory. The conceptual theory that's adapted in this presentation is the theory of planned behavior, which is the frame of practicing and adapting new behaviors according to the individual's intent. These are behavioral beliefs, attitude towards the behavior, normative belief, subjective norms, control belief, and passive powers. The conceptual theory of planned behavior continues. Behavioral beliefs. This deals with the MSM beliefs about the consequences of doing the behavior and focuses on the outcomes. The attitudes towards the behavior has to do with the MSM's motivational causes that influences the known behavior. The normative beliefs refers to the MSN's social pressure of peers. The individual thinks about whether their peers are going to like the behavior or not. Also, of what importance is this behavior to the individual. The subjective norms, the MSN global culture context of the group of standardized social norms. The control beliefs, the powers that may facilitate or impede the MSN behavior, which may sometimes vary. And the perceived power has to do with the MSN's behavioral control over each of the facilitating or impeding factors. This was from Ages, Ages 1991 and McWen Wills 2011. How is this theory going to be implemented? The implementation of the theory of planned behavior will be done by educating the participants about the risk of current practice and encouraging them to get tested for HIV to decrease HIV transmission. Commun- communicating, communi- Committing to reducing the risk behaviors will help in the prevalence of new cases of infection. Enhancing and facilitating access to the prevention and transmission of HIV infection, and also provision of services, HIV counseling, and yearly routine testing. Strengthens the participants' intention through social approval and information that to be tested will provide a positive result for them. They also will receive information on behavioral change intentions such as the reduction in sexual risk and persistent in condom use. Information campaign will create social media pages such as on the Facebook, Twitter, WhatsApp, Instagram to spread information about the health risk of HIV infection, prevention, testing, and prevalence of the disease among individuals aged 13 to 29 that are men and having sex with men. It will also create a group of individual, the MSM, and implement a smartphone application to encourage more men who are engaged in the behavior and have a smartphone to be involved. Information like health risk prevention screening will be installed in the app. Also, safe practices will also be installed in the app. I'll create a HIV prevention link on a social media called A Lifelong Commitment to Stay HIV Free. Following slides are my references where my information was retrieved. This is a continuation of my references. Thank you very much, and I will be open to questions.